Okay, real quick, I wanted to kind of show you guys how to go out there and explore fonts that are out there to use, because you might not know it, but there's a lot of fonts out there that aren't on the Adobe list. In fact, I would say probably half of these are ones that I've gone out there and downloaded on my own. So how do we do that? First of all, there are places that you can trust to find safe font files. And the one that I recommend for us all to go, just for starters, is, well, let me just pull up my Chrome window, defont.com. So this is a library for a lot of just fonts that don't come stock on your programs and devices. A lot of these individual artists have just submitted, and some of them you have to pay for, but a lot of these you don't. So I'll show you kind of how to explore this. On the first page, they usually kind of feature the new stuff. But for me, I kind of know the kind of font that I'm looking for by category. Thankfully, at the top, it does organize fonts by category. And if you guys didn't know this, by the way, the difference between serif and sans serif fonts, the two, of course, most broad categories of fonts. Sans serifs, I'm just going to scroll through this. Notice those, and then if I click serif, you'll see that each character has what they call serifs, or just features on the ends of each, each appendage. I don't like saying that word, but it's kind of, I think that's the way it was described to me back when I was doing this. But yeah, if you look through this, you'll see that each of these has something on the ends that aren't just squared off like sans serif fonts are. So obviously, just looking through those, you can see most of the time these are more elegant. Other times, I like to search by calligraphy or handwritten fonts. So if I'm looking for a script font, the handwritten category is a great place to start. So there's one thing real quick that I want to sort of just make aware to you guys, is that this is design work and artwork that artists have submitted, and some of this stuff is on here for you to purchase. Some of it is just for personal use, meaning it's okay for you to use it, but don't use it to make money or advertise. And then there's some things on here that is completely free, open domain, that you can use for any purpose. But how do we know what is what in that regard? Each font has a label over here that will tell you which category it falls underneath. The way to search for them and the filter is by clicking this More Options drop-down menu. And then if you go ahead and click the Free for Personal Use checkmark, everything to the left will also check. This stuff is usually things you have to submit some payment for, so just click the Free for Personal Use button and then click Submit. For our uses, it's totally fine if we use the Free for Personal Use fonts, because we're not using these to make money. We are using them for educational purposes, and most of the time, that is a stipulation that a lot of these artists will put in, the PDFs that come along with them. So let's say I want this photo shoot font. You can click the font and it will kind of show you some details about it, the author, and you can donate sometimes to these accounts to say thank you. Each character is oftentimes placed in these boxes, so you can see how each is individually before you get it. This particular artist has gone so far as to make special characters too, with accents and so forth. You don't oftentimes see that, so that's pretty cool. So let's say that I want this file. But first, by the way, I want you guys to know that you can also search for different fonts based on name. But also, let's say you kind of want to see what a word would look like in this font before downloading it. In this custom preview, this is a few names of people that I've done work for in the past. So let's say I want to see my name in this font and click submit. You'll see that in this area, it will preview whatever text you clicked inside this box and submitted. So let's say, yes, I do want this font. I'll click download, and you'll see a zip file will shoot down into my bottom toolbar in Chrome. So regardless of whatever machine or browser you're on, if you go into your Explorer or Finder and go to Downloads, you should see the zip file. All you have to do is unzip it. I think on a PC you might have to right-click it, and it's a different term. But anyway, so what should happen after you unzip the file is a folder should appear with sometimes there's PDFs in there and some text documents talking about some of the rules or notes that the author has behind this font file. In this case, it's just a couple of font files. One's an open type font file, one's a true type font file. Usually it doesn't matter what you choose. We'll just go with the true type font file, TTF. You might see both or one or the other. Both can be used. On a Mac, this will show up if I double click it. On a PC, it will probably look different, but there's probably an install button somewhere in the window that comes up. I'll click it and it will go into my library. Once I go back into my InDesign document, I will highlight some text, go to this drop-down character menu and type in, to get the font that I just downloaded. And there you go. That's the basic process in downloading a font. Now, if you don't have your own personal machine, I'm not sure what the rules are at school with downloading and installing software. Technically, a font is an installation, so it might limit you on that. So if you're using a machine that's at school and it won't let you install fonts, I want you to first just work with whatever fonts are on the Adobe program there, and then do what you can with adjusting things to make it custom. But last thing I'll say is this: if you want to go online and look around for fonts, and let's say you found one that you really, really like, let me know, and what we'll do is we'll have you send me your InDesign file, and I will download those fonts for you, put them into the document, and then export that and send it back to you. That way you actually have a PDF that has those fonts in there like you wanted. So we'll find a way around it. I'll be the one to insert that font file into the document and make sure your PDF includes the font that you wanted. Or you can go to a classmate of yours too and ask them if they would do it for you. But I don't want you to feel like you're disadvantaged because you can't go out there and download a font that you really, really like. So if that's you, if you're working from a computer at school, let's have a discussion and about what font files you want inside of this document that you'll each be working on, okay? If you have questions about how to download and install fonts, just, of course, as always, let me know. And we'll work with you to make sure your question is answered. So between this video about how to install fonts and the assignment video before this, you guys should be set up to do your first work in kind of exploring typography. And of course, this will lead to other more submersive studies into typography and font. So this will be a good start. And if you have questions, let me know.